Hello Gremlins, welcome to the start of a new vlog, which will be mostly short story collections, all short story collections, I haven't decided. This was all inspired by the fact that I've been hunting for a short story collection for years. Years, mind you. Literal years. And found it. But I'm not reading that one first, so I'll show you the ones I have so far. I'm waiting for one to come in. Krista is drafting. She's doing a mock draft in preparation for Labor Day, which is when her actual draft is. But I am going to read some, even though it's kind of late. I think it's like 10 o'clock. We just finished watching, as a general catch-up, Gremlins, we just finished watching the show Animal Kingdom on Netflix, and I do not recommend it at this point. The ending was trash. So, don't do it. Or I guess maybe stop before the final season. I don't know. The ending was horrible. Truly horrible. Just real bad. But we're gonna read now. And I'll just pull these over. Hold on. I'm holding you with my right hand, so we gotta do a lot of leaning. Alright. So, short story collections I have so far are interesting. So the first is the ever nostalgic Scary Stories. Oh, there's a kitten by the door. Chloe may bark. I'll be quick. She's whining because she can smell the kitten. Or, yep. She's gonna, yep, that's Chloe. She's fine. She just wants to say hi to the kitten. Okay. Who is a cat, I suppose. But I'm still calling her a kitten. But first one that I'm going to read is Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, which I think everyone knows these. I did not read these as a kid. I did read them when I was older. The animations, the pictures are what really gets me. Like, the pictures are horrifying. Chris is figuring out draft order stuff. Like, the pictures are so creepy. Like, even the cover is creepy. I was terrified of these as a kid. If there was a series that you ever wanted me to read, I would not have said this one. But I have this, and then I have this very interesting one that I have to return like this. So this is Scary Stories for Teens, which is apparently 3 books in this very interesting box held together with a rubber band. And inside, they're loose, but I feel like I'm carrying around a giant DVD case. I only have this because I was trying to find something in the vein of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. So I did teens, because like this is technically for young readers, like I think middle school and up. So I like typed in literally Scary Stories, and our library system was like, Scary Stories for Teens. And so this is how, or I put Scary Short Stories, and that's how this came up. And I was like, well, the library search system has spoken, so that's why we're reading this. But even the librarian was confused. The two of us were like, what the heck is going on with this? So this one's just gonna be weird to read because it's 3 smaller books. I don't know. And then the third one, I have a 4th one that I'm waiting for, but the third one is the one I've been waiting for. And I'm gonna read it last. So if the other one, I'll read it last if the other one comes in, but if not, I'll read it earlier than that. It's called Curses, Inc. and Other Stories. I'm not going to tell you anything about this yet, but just know, I swear I read this when I was young. Like, not even a teenager, maybe 10 or 11. And there's a story in here that I consistently think about that is horrifying, and I could not find this book for the life of me. I could not remember the name of the book. Finally tracked it down based on a lot of help from my wife, who was like, you should just try Googling things. So I finally found it, and my library system had it, so I had it. And I'm not going to tell you the story, not till we get to it, but I'm going to read Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. In the light, I'm going to leave a light on. I'm not reading this in the dark. I have too vivid imagination, and I truly am terrified of the images in here, even though I am a grown adult. I am a grown adult, and I still think the images are creepy. But I'm going to go. I'm going to read. I will talk to you later, Gremlins, and also we are definitely going to Spirit Halloween in this vlog because it should be opening Sunday or Monday. They weren't sure yet, but you're coming to Spirit Halloween when we go, but I need to go. So I'm gonna read. I will talk to you later, Gremlins, in the rest of the vlog. Hello, Gremlins. I did not take you with us today. We wound up just going grocery shopping because the Spirit is not open today. Well, we actually did more than grocery shop. We grocery shopped. We picked up some food. Actually, we picked up food while we were grocery shopping, but Krista let me stop for coffee at my favorite coffee place because they still have the Lavender Haze cold brew, and I'm very, very sure that by next month it will be gone. Seriously, I got that. But she had a coupon that I used, so it was $2 off. But she is drafting. Behold the seriousness of my wife drafting. She's practicing because her draft is on the 1st, which I think I already told you. But last night, I haven't done any reading today. We hung out this morning, we had donuts, we had coffee. I made coffee at home. It was pumpkin spice, it was very good. And then we ran all of our errands. But last night, while she was working on draft stuff, I read Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, and also the 3-in-1 scary short stories for teens. So starting with Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, I don't think I've ever actually read these because I was so afraid of the art as a kid. I just like have never read them. I almost want to say this book is cute. So a lot of this, I'm sure a ton of people know this, I'm late to the party by a lot of years. These are mostly like stories designed for you to take part in like oral storytelling. So a lot of it is Alvin Schwartz presenting you stories that are well-known folklore stories or urban legends, some stuff along those lines. And then in certain parts, he's giving you ways to tell the story to either scare your friends or make your friends laugh. And I thought that was very cute, but like, seriously, the art in these things, horrific, like, horrifying. But like the stories themselves are totally fine. One of them did remind me, because these are all like urban legendy, like stories that are well known. There's one about, a dead man who goes to the woman he loves and her scarf is around his neck. And that reminded me a little bit of, there's a different story where it's a girl in the green, I think it's the girl with the green sweater. And she like leaves the sweater in a man's car and then he like tries to give it back and they're like, oh, she's died. And she died a long time ago. And then like we got the Hook story. We got a lot of stories you'd probably recognize. There is a story in here about the Wendigo that reminds me of a book I read in a more recent, well, I think last Halloween, that also included a Wendigo story, but it did note that like the story was inspired by folklore and was kind of like a legend that had been passed down. So that was interesting, but I thought this was fun. I would maybe read some of these out loud to children, probably not adults, but I thought this was a fun time, and now I know that it's just the pictures that are scary. So kudos to Stephen Gamble for scaring the bejesus out of me for a book that is actually not that scary. Also, I have seen the movie. I watched it a little while ago. The movie is actually kind of scary. There's some humor in it, but I do remember like some of it is pretty creepy. So I would recommend. I do remember the art being used as an influence for creatures in it. Then, moving on, that was a very loud sound, to this bizarre packaging. Scary short stories for teens is interesting. I am guessing, this is a guess, I even looked up the author, that this is someone who lives in New York, probably the upstate area, somewhere around there, and that's why this library has this. Perhaps they live near this library. I'm not sure. The 3 books all have like 9 to 10 stories in them. They're incredibly short, 1 to 2 pages long. They're all like one book. Almost all the stories just involve a creepy laughing shadow or a creepy old man. A lot of these involve just like a creepy smiling person, but there's like, the stories are so short that there's no real like build up or explanation, and a lot of them just end with like, and that was that. The stories also do not feel like they are actually written for teens. So a number of them are like, I was a single mother, or I was 20 years old, or I went to a party with my friends and one of us was underage. And I'm like, how are these for teens when the stories themselves are about adults? And there are 2 stories that do come up in which someone is obviously kidnapping and hurting women, and those are just in there. And I was like, why? So not great. I don't know that I would recommend. I just was like, and I'm like, literally so many of the stories involved like an elongated shadow person or just a person who kept smiling and then something creepy happened. Also, there's a dead dog in one of them, like out of the blue, and I was like, I do not approve. It just like was so strange. And like, they did not feel like they were actually written for teens. They felt like perhaps someone said like teenagers would read these because they are short, but the subject matter in them did not feel teen specific. Like if I'm reading a book that says for teens, I would expect most of the characters to be teenagers and the story revolving about a thing a teenager can relate to. And I will grant you, there are teenagers that like underage drink and do all that, but in the specific stories, almost no one, like there were a handful where someone was a teenager, but it's very rare. There was also a story in one of them that reminded me so much of Stolen Tongues, the like cabin in the woods kind of thing. I was like, what is happening? It was very strange. So those are done. I'm not sure if I'm going to read this today or not. Oh gosh, it's all the way over here. I'm trying. So Curses Inc. is the book I have been hunting for years. And the reason is that I swear my library put this out on like a young reader table for a couple of Halloweens, like for some events or like for stuff they did that was like in fall. And I remember reading this. And I only remember reading this because I believe there's a short story about a girl who works at a haunted attraction, like a haunted hayride or a haunted farm thing. And the plot of it is horrifying. But as it has been a very long time, I am wondering if I made that up or confused this with a different book. So I'm gonna read this and then report back as to whether I am having memory issues, I made up the story, borrowed the story from a different short story collection and just assumed it was in this book. I honestly don't know. I do remember this cover though, because it's like a witch on a computer and her, it's probably not gonna focus, and then her cat is playing with the mouse. And like, I just think that's very silly. It feels very 90s to me. So yeah, I will be reading this one next. I think it's, all the stories are by Vivian Van Velde, I believe, who's listed as the author. Oh, I remember the layout of that one too. Okay, hold on. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like 12 stories, and then she has a thing on ideas. But I will let you know if the story I'm thinking of about a girl who works at a haunted attraction is in this. Because that story has stuck with me for a billion years. And I am very concerned that I made it up. So this will prove whether I have lost my mind gradually over time. Oh, the dog's barking. I'm gonna go. I will update you when I have read this Gremlins. Also, maybe we'll see if we're gonna watch a movie. I think our neighbor's dog is out. But I'm gonna go. I'll talk to you later, Gremlins. Oh, also behold, very cool Ghostface shirt from Five Below. All right, gotta go. Talk to you later. Good morning, Gremlins. It is raining, which is lovely. Though not lovely for possibly the AC unit in our downstairs. The rain, I love the sound of it. I think it's lovely today. But the downside is we have an AC unit in our living room that occasionally decides it wants to leak when it rains, like rain gets into it. But hopefully it doesn't. We have a thing set up to hopefully stop it from doing that. But I have a screen in my window right now so I can like hear it, get some of the like cool air from the rain. But I may have to take it out if the wind changes because I don't want it to rain in my office. But aside from rain, I am wearing a very cozy Blackcraft coffee shirt. I've not been to Blackcraft's coffee shop yet, but I have been to Blackcraft in Salem. One of these days, I'm gonna go, gonna get coffee. But I have this on now because it's too hot in my office to wear the sweatshirt. I want to wear it later, but it's cool enough outside, I think. So I'm gonna do like an outfit change after work. But I am drinking coffee out of my Spirit mug in the hopes that Spirit does open today. I'm also getting a trim for my hair. I have a few things to do after work. I'm also very tired, but that'll be fine. I'm gonna drink a lot of coffee. It took a little bit to fall asleep, and then Chloe, she's not technically the oldest, Bruni is. She sometimes has stomach issues, and she woke up twice last night and needed me to take her out, and then this morning, right when the alarm went off, she was like, I gotta go. So she, like, is having a stomach thing. She has medicine for it. We've already given her some, but I just feel bad because, like, she was waking up, I was waking up. So, I'm just tired. But I finished Curses Inc. yesterday, and this is not the book. It's not the book, which is unfortunate. So, in this, all the stories are witches, which should have tipped me off that this isn't the book, but I thought maybe the ghost was cursed by the witch. So in this, there are where's table of contents? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 stories, all by Vivian Van Velde. And then she has an intro and like an author's note, which are both interesting because it turns out she normally does not name her own books, because every time she names one and she likes the title, her editors are like, no. And then she talked about where the ideas for each of the stories came from. So Curses Inc., the title story, I'm just gonna give you like a very brief recap of them. A boy technically invites a girl to the like graduation dance and then decides he doesn't want to pay for it and is like, well, I didn't actually ask you, I just said asked you if you wanted to go. And then he finds a website called Curses Inc., where you like go online and you can purchase jinxes, curses, hexes, blah blah blah. And then it's him trying to like curse, essentially, this girl because she was like, he's too cheap to take me, which is true. And then everyone at school is like, yeah, you're lame. Like, they're kind of like teasing him for not taking her because he did actually ask her, and now he's just not taking her just because he doesn't want to pay for it, even though he has money. Like, he has money saved up he could use. Skin Deep is about like a sorceress who has a birthmark. She's also described as like having other characteristics, and she uses a glamour, but people already know what she looks like, so they're like, who does she think she's fooling? And then it winds up being that someone falls for her with her glamour, and then it's the results of that. Past Sunset is a French ghost, which is a very, very sad story. I really don't want to tell you much about it because it's kind of a surprise, but it's like a French ghost that haunts this specific street at sundown, like after sunset. To Converse with Dumb Beasts is one of those be careful what you wish for kind of stories involving a game warden and wanting to know what the animals he works with says. Boy Witch is about a witch. He's a boy. He's never actually been apprenticed yet, but his mom is like the town's witch. She does like little spells so long as it doesn't hurt anyone or anyone else. Like anyone. Her whole goal is not hurting anyone. A girl shows up, says she needs a spell for her hair because something has happened to it in the night her brother cut it off, and he attempts to cast a number of spells and they're all terrible. Then Lost Soul is, oh, that one's like a mermaid story. Siren like bewitches someone. Remember Me is interesting. This one is more we see something happen at the beginning and then the main character we're following has no idea who they are at all. They can't remember anything. They don't know what they're doing there. And then it's them trying to just like have a life not knowing who they are. Witch Hunt is curious because it seems initially like it's set during like the witch trials, but it's not, is all I will say. And there's a satanic book involved. Cypress Swamp Granny is the main character in this is horrible. This is at post-Civil War, and the main character is just not a pleasant person in any way. She's racist and consistently wants to steal men from her friends, and she gets her comeuppance. And there's a cool witch that has cool powers. And the witch's son is also sad, but has like a lighthearted ending. A witch is trying to bring her son back from the dead, and then it's the fallout of what he would need to do to stay alive. So there are those. These were all very well written. I did enjoy them, but also was not the story I was looking for. So we're attempting a book that I debated about including in this vlog. I'm still waiting for a library book to come in, so that will be in this vlog when it arrives. But I'm going to read Slasher Girls and Monster Boys, stories selected by April Genevieve Tushulk. And it says Classic Tales, Brand New Nightmares. I don't know if the story's in here. I am very slowly losing my mind. So I'm going to attempt this and hope this is it. Oh, there's a sticker on the back of this still. I don't know where I got this. So the hope is it's in here. And I'm going to tell you, maybe it is. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. So I'm just going to tell you what the story is and try and explain it in a way that also does not like flag it, because there are some words that I would normally use. So in this story, there's a girl, and it's modern day. She's working at like a haunted attraction, and she's in a barn, and she's in charge of setting some stuff off in the barn, and she's dressed in like kind of period-y clothing because it's set on this barn, and the like lore of where this haunted thing is built is that there was a man who owned the land. That man would hire young male help, and then that young male help would go missing consistently. And he was doing this over and over because there were, I forget what year that man's life is. I feel like it's supposed to be like around the Great Depression maybe. It's a period of time where like a lot of people could just kind of disappear and no one was going to say anything because like they could have run off, they could have gone to do this, blah blah blah, but I don't really remember. He just like kept taking on this help, and eventually it is discovered that he was killing the boys that he hired, and he's a serial killer. Like, he's a serial killer who only kills young men, and like young, like I believe it's like 15, 16, could be slightly younger than that. And like there's a rumor that he haunts the property, but no one has ever seen him. The girl working in the barn is met with a ghost. That ghost is a boy. He like keeps saying like he can't find his body, he can't leave, They found everyone else, but they didn't find me because they found like a mass grave. And he's like, they didn't find me, I can't be at rest. So she starts to help this ghost. Oh my gosh, I need a sip of coffee. Okay, she tries to help this ghost while she's working because like her spot on the trail, she has time. So she's like looking around the barn because she's like, I'm in the barn. She keeps looking and looking. She can't find him. She can't find it. Like, she didn't find anything that would presumably be a grave. Then at the end of the story, she does find like the grave or something. And then the ghost turns into the old man who is killing these men, like these boys. And he's like, why would I look like an old man in death when I can look like anything? And then he kills her. And I, for the life of me, cannot remember where I read this. Also, yes, the coughing is because I have asthma. It happens. And because the season is being weird and it's rainy, it's hot, rainy, it's hot, I'm coughing more than normal. But yeah, I don't know where I read the story. And it's driving me crazy because I remember it being very creepy. And I can't remember. I'm hoping it's in this because it's not going to be in the thing I borrowed from the library because I'd never even heard of that book. So if it's not in here, I don't know where I read it. And if you know what story I'm talking about and it's not in this book, please tell me. Because it's been driving me crazy for years. Because I know for a fact I read the story. And then I can't figure out where I read it. I just don't understand. But I remember the story because the whole, like, setup, like, the end of the story, the idea is that you can't trust a ghost because ghosts can look like whatever they want. And so, like, this girl was doomed because she trusted a ghost. But I don't know if that's, like, the name of the story, like, don't trust a ghost. Or if it's like name something else. I don't know. But yeah, so it's pretty early still. I'm setting up my computer. That's why I'm already at my like work area. But it's not time for me to start work yet. So I might read a little now. I might read a little at lunch. I don't know. I'll probably also read some tonight because even though we're doing stuff, Krista is going to practice draft. And I do remember liking this. I just don't remember if that story is in here. But yeah, so I'm going to go. I will talk to you later, Gremlins. I will report back more throughout this one because this one is chunky. So I'll give some updates as we go. And you're definitely coming to Spirit Halloween. So there are things that you will get to do in this part of the vlog. So I will talk to you later. I'm going to keep getting set up for work and then probably read a little. And before I get my haircut, I'm going to do like eyeliner, swap sweatshirts, do the whole thing. Be ready for Spirit perusing. Alright, talk to you later, Gremlins. We're here. I'm not filming the entire time because there will be other people, but they're open. That was my song for you, but they're open.
Your soul, you can never escape my evil eye.
Oh, he only has one eye.
It's too late to run. It's too late to hide. You don't even have time to scream.
Does it just vibrate? Oh. What does the phone do? No dice. One's around. I'm not gonna do the clowns. I'm just filming very quickly in a loop. Hello vlog. I got my hair trimmed, but I need to take a shower. And I wanted to show you that I'm wearing my Spirit Halloween sweatshirt, and I was wearing it, we were in Spirit, but I never actually showed me on camera. So there you go. We're gonna eat though, and I need to take a shower because I have so many little hairs poking me. But I wanted you to see the sweatshirt. I will also fill you in on book so far, Slasher Girls and Monster Boys. Is that it? Yes, Slasher Girls and Monster Boys. Later tonight, and then I have another book. I don't think this book has the story in it though, which is unfortunate. But I'm gonna go. I'm really hungry. But you needed to see the sweatshirt. So talk to you later, gremlins. Hello, gremlins. It's much later in the evening. We've had food. Krista is doing a mock draft, so you may hear her talking about how that is going. I'm still messing with my hair. It is freshly dried at this point. And it's trying to figure out how to part to the side. I was parting it down the middle. But with how it is now, I can part it to the side, and I'm just playing around with how it's going to part right now. So we shall see how this works. It's just doing whatever it wants right now. But we had food. I made brownies. The brownies were very good. I got really hot making the brownies, though. Our oven was so warm. But I have an update because I am exactly halfway through chapter-wise. Slasher Girls and Monster Boys. So I just read... did I just read the one by the collector? Like the editor? Yes, I did. Perfect. That makes sense. She's halfway through. I know, I cut off my own head with that angle. So far, I've read 7 of 14. And again, we have determined, based on skimming slightly, this does not have the story I was talking about either. So I have no idea what book that story is in. So based on the synopsis I gave you, can someone please figure out what story it is? Like what book that story is in? It has to exist somewhere. I couldn't have made it up. I don't think. Maybe I don't think I did. But quick little recap of the story so far with no spoilers, I promise. So the first is The Birds of Azalea Street by Nova Ren Suma. This one is a bit confusing for me because it involves a very creepy man who has very creepy thoughts about girls in his neighborhood. But then there's like a bird tie-in, which is interesting. It just like threw me off a little how it's set up. Then In the Forest Dark and Deep by Carrie Ryan is an Alice in Wonderland retelling, and I remember that story like the most out of this collection. I really like that one. It's very creepy. It involves a girl. It's told over the course of like when she's 7, her 8th birthday party, and then when she's 17 and on her 18th birthday. But like it's like a few weeks before, a few days before, and then her birthday each time. And it involves a tea party in the woods and the March Hare, and it's creepy. It's like really creepy. But that one is very good. Emmeline, or I think it's Emmeline, by Kat Winters, is set during World War II and involves a ghost. And then Verse, Chorus, Verse by Leigh Bardugo. This one involves a rehab that isn't rehab, possibly. We're following like a pop star who winds up in rehab, but things are not as straightforward as that, and it's creepy. Hide and Seek by Megan Shepherd is playing a game of hide and seek to beat death. So our main character has technically been killed, but if she can beat death in a game of hide and seek, she will come back to life, and all events in the 24 hours after her death will like reset, so they won't have happened. Then the dark, scary parts and all. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna sneeze. One sec. I sneezed very hard and literally was like, I'm not gonna have that on camera. So yeah, I stopped recording. So, the dark, scary parts and all is an Omen retelling with a focus on Frankenstein, which is interesting. There's a boy named Damien and there's a girl named Marnie, and he like falls for her in a very interesting way. Then The Flicker, The Fingers, The Beat, The Sigh. Oh, sorry. The Dark, Scary Parts and All is by Danielle Page. And then the one I just finished is The Flicker, The Finger, The Beat, The Sigh by April Genevieve Tuschulk, I think, who's the editor of the collection. And it is I feel like I want to call it a combination of a Carrie and I Know What You Did Last Summer retelling. And everyone does indeed get their comeuppance at the end. And that's where I have ended. So I have 7 stories left. I'm gonna work on reading those. I do have one more book after this that I picked up at the library today. I cannot remember the title. I will tell you tomorrow because hopefully I will finish this tonight. I'm just gonna keep reading. Also, while I was making the brownies, I put on the Netflix First Street Prom Queen. It is fine. It's not very good. I understand where people are coming from. No one has any backstory, so like I can't care about anyone. So it just feels like nothing. Like everyone is just being mowed down, and I'm like, I don't know who they are. Whatever. And it feels like they took Mean Girls and like used that as the inspiration, because there's basically like a Janice-esque character, a Katie-esque character. They even introduced a character like Damien. It's just very weird. It is not pleasant. But yeah, but I'm gonna read. At some point I'll finish that movie. I still have a half hour left and I could not bring myself to care. I'm gonna throw it on tomorrow for background at some point, just so I can like see the ending, I guess. But I'm gonna go. It is late. I'm gonna keep reading and I will talk to you tomorrow morning, Gremlins. Good morning, Gremlins. It is very early, like earlier than normal even. So Chris had a dentist appointment this morning at a very early time. I actually don't know the time of the appointment. I know we had to get up early, so I'm tired. Especially because we were up kind of late. So like, I'm just tired. But I finished Slasher Girls and Monster Boys. So, second half of this book. Some were good, some meh. So oh, there's a piece of my hair in the book. So where I left you, I was on Fat Girl with a Knife. It's by Jonathan Maberry. Oh, I need coffee. It's still really hot. All right, let's try and get coffee. It's in a cool Sanderson Sisters like special potion. And it's apple coffee. It's Hocus Pocus coffee in a Hocus Pocus cup. Just FYI, I was being very fancy this morning. I really like the coffee because it's apple flavored and Krista bought me a whole bunch. So I'm slowly getting my coffee area fall/Halloween-ified. But Fat Girl with a Knife by Jonathan Maberry really felt like it was written by the guy. Like I am not a small person, and I was like, I was not a fan. It's also a zombie apocalypse story. So there's this girl who gets picked on because she's bigger, and then zombies. That's really like the whole premise, because the zombies aren't even until the end. So like it was fine. Sleepless by Jay Kristoff I liked. It's a guy, no, I have the wrong one. I'm confusing it with the girl without a face. Sleepless. Oh, Sleepless was also very good. Sleepless, I'm trying not to cough. Sleepless is a Psycho retelling, and it's a guy who's like trying to get girls through video chat, or not video chat, through like, I'm gonna say a message, and he like messages them. They meet up, like he attempts to get them to meet up with him. It's like a whole thing. But then he meets this girl who's like, oh, I can't sleep, and they eventually do meet up, but her intentions are not what he expected. And we get the like mama kind of thing where there's like a dead body talking to him. So that's like the direct Psycho pullover, is there's a woman talking to him who's dead. M is a story about Misha, who's blind, but she's confronted by a murderer, and a murder occurs like right near her, and she knows that she should be able to tell who the murderer is based on how he like smelled, and she insists she can see like a shadow when he's around. And so it's her and a maid trying to catch the murderer, because he like butchered a woman in this house. I'm so sorry. One sec. I swear I cannot film a clip where I'm talking about this book without like coughing or sneezing. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I took a sip of coffee, but like I really had to cough all of a sudden. I'm blaming, so some of it is seasonal allergies, which I do have, and like the weather's been so weird that like I just don't know what's going on. Anyway, I should be okay now, hopefully. But M is by Stephen Bachman. Then, so they're trying to catch a murderer. It's like Victorian-y, so just that one's kind of a period piece. Then The Girl Without a Face by Mary Lou, that one was really, really good. And it is this guy who like, his parents move into a new house and there's always something wrong with the closets in his room, and he's like, oh, it's whatever. But then we learn that he's like trying to actively not think about this girl, and we learn it has something to do with closets and that he is horrible and he is being haunted. It is very, very good. That one was one of my favorites in here. The Girl Who Dreamed of Snow by McCormick Templeman. Not my favorite. It's fantasy. It has to do with like some kind of curse that's killing the women in like these societies. It's very like nomadic peoples, very like heavy fantasy. I just like could not get into it, so I was not, I did not want a fantasy read in this, and it was very fantasy. Then Stitches is a Frankenstein retelling that was really interesting. It involves 3 children. Their mother has disappeared and their father is raising him, but he is an alcoholic and has a very bad temper, and he winds up agreeing to this like transplant, like varied transplant surgeries where he will have 10 parts of his body removed and replaced, and it will make him a better man. And it's really interesting. I enjoyed that one a lot. And then On the I-5, oh, that's by A.G. Howard. And then On the I-5 ends the collection, and that's by Kendare Blake. And that one is very cool. So we meet a girl who says she's like 14, and she's waiting at a truck stop, and then she finds a dead body, but she knew the dead body was there. And it's like a vengeance story for girls who are like taken, who are just like trying to get somewhere and are abused. It was very well done. I really like that one. So overall, I like the collection. It's just some of them aren't really like for me. I'm also not like a huge zombie fan, so I knew once the like as the Fat Girl with a Knife story kept evolving, I was like, I'm not, like, it was just weird. Like just continuously talking about like her size and then being like, oh, but she's very good at like self-defense, but also everyone makes fun of her because she's bigger, and she cries about that a lot, and she's always upset that she's bigger, and I'm like, okay, this is depressing. And then the fantasy one, The Girl Who Dreamed of Snow, just not, I really did not want fantasy in this collection. I had forgotten that story was even in here. Beyond that, I liked most of them. Verse Chorus Verse throws me off because I feel like I missed something. Like I like understand what they were going for, but I don't get it. Like I just feel like I missed some element of the plot, or I'm missing some key thing that would have made it work a little bit better for me. And oddly enough, the first one, The Birds of Azalea Street, I like, but I could not tell you what in the heck is going on. It seems very Avenging Angel, and I'm sure actually, and like, so each of the books, I didn't tell you this, each of the short stories on the final page has the inspiration of the story on the last page upside down, so like you'll be surprised. But like the first one is inspired by the birds and Rear Window, and I was like, that doesn't help me. Like, is she a bird god, a bird ghost, there's just like something in there that like I couldn't get. Like I was just like, what? Huh? And like even the girls in the story seem confused by it, so I was like, it's not just me, like your fictional characters don't understand either. But I had read this before, it just had been so long. The only story I remembered that was in here was the Alice in Wonderland one, because that one like stuck out in my mind. It's pretty long. That one is very, very good. I don't know if it's my favorite in here. I would maybe say my favorite of them is The Girl Without a Face. I really like that one. And that one, the inspiration is, I could flip to it. It's like What Lies Beneath and like La Ojos de Jenny or something. But yeah, so I would say The Girl Without a Face is probably my favorite in here, though In the Forest Dark and Deep is very cool. So there is this one. I have to figure out how to get it back on my shelf because it took a bit of time to get it out. The next book kind of matches my shirt, so I went with lime green and black. This is a Beetlejuice shirt from Beetlejuice the Musical, which I love. The next one is Don't Turn Out the Lights, presented by the Horror Writers Association and edited by New York Times bestseller Jonathan Maberry. And this came out in 2020, and it's big. Like, I did not realize it was this big. And there are 35 stories in here. So this one will take me a little bit. I actually think it might be, oh, the font is huge though. So maybe not. 384. It's actually about the same length as Slasher Girls and Monster Boys, but the font in this one is much smaller than this. So I'm hoping to finish this today. I have not found that story that I was talking about. So I don't know. I don't know what collection that was in. I don't know where I read it. But if you find a book with a story in it about a ghost who tricks a girl into helping him either find his body, or I think it's finding his body so he can commit more like evil deeds, I think. But like, I don't know. If you have any idea what I'm talking about, please comment below. Or if you think there's a story that's similar, so anything would be great, because I truly have no idea where I read this book, like story, what book it was in at this point. Like, I just don't know. I don't know. It's driving me up a wall. But I'm gonna read this one. It'd be funny if it's in this one. It will not be, because this came out in 2020 and I did not read this in 2020. I've never read this one before. So unless the story appeared in a different book and is now in this book, who knows? That would be funny though. If it's in here, I will let you know, but it shouldn't be. I just can't figure out where I read it. Like, I don't know where the story was. I have no idea. I feel mildly delusional. I'm gonna drink coffee and get ready for work. I still have plenty of time before my work day even starts, so I'm gonna read a little, but I was getting stuff set up so that I could have it set up and then just go like chill for a little. That way it was already good to go. But I'm gonna go. I will talk to you later, Gremlins, when I have an update on Don't Turn Out the Lights. I do not know if I will recap every story for you. There are a lot of them. So I may just like pick my favorites and tell you about it, or note some authors you may recognize, but 35 is a lot to recap in one like thing. So yeah, I'll be back with, if I can pick it up, Don't Turn Out the Lights. I just like the shirt. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I gotta drink coffee. I'm so tired. Bye for now, Gremlins. Hello, Gremlins. It is the end of the workday, and between before work and lunch, I was able to finish Don't Turn Out the Lights. So this overall is a bit interesting because I understand that this is like a tribute to Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. So I think the idea is that this would be like a younger reader's book. But what's interesting to me is some of the stories are set up the way I would almost expect like a children's book to be set up. Some are set up more like a young adult read. Some do focus on, actually all of them focus on like kids, middle school. I feel like maybe there's some high schoolers in here. Maybe. Is there just screaming happening outside? Okay. So like most of our protagonists are pretty young. Some are even younger than others. There are a couple who are very, very young. And what's interesting is some of the stories where the child is young, it reads like a story written for an older reader to terrify them, but other ones read like they're designed for children to be reading them. So it's still very reminiscent of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. The art is very well done. So the art is also still very creepy. It's not like my favorite one. Like this one is creepy. The Green Grabber. Let me find another one. That one's not too creepy. There's a, is it Josh Malerman? Yeah, I was just on his. Josh Malerman's. This one has a creepy, so this is supposed to be a dryer, I think, and it looks like a washing machine, so maybe it was also supposed to be a washing machine. Let's see. And like some are scary. Oh, this one is extra creepy. So just like the idea, the art is very reminiscent of the art in the original books. So I do think that is really cool. The odd thing for me in here is, again, some of them feel younger than others. So like, I don't know, 8 to 12? Yeah, ages 8 to 12. That, I could see that. I could see, I mean, I guess if you're over 12, you can still read it. I can see 8 to 12. The writing is pretty simple, which is good. I did think it was interesting, and you can tell, like, some of the authors are trying to stick to, like, during the time of when the book was released. So it's very, like, no technology, folklore-y kind of, so it's older. Some of these are newer, so some have computers, phones, stuff like that. Also, really quick, sorry. I'm trying not to be distracted. I think I hear something. Give me one sec. I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. I said that very awkwardly. One of the cats was making a ruckus in the hallway, and I didn't think it was being picked up on camera, but I was just making sure they were fine. Binks keeps annoying Goose, and I just want to make sure they weren't like in an actual like fight. Everyone's fine, totally fine. I just like was like, what is happening? So yeah, so this does, the age range does fit. I will say some of them are creepier than others. There is one, so I did say I would talk about different ones. So pretty early on, there's one called The Golden Peacock, and that one is by Alethea Contis, and that one is frightening. Someone loses their eyes, and it was very creepy. There are some like moral kind of ones. There's one called The Carved Bear, where you're kind of punished for theft. There's another one in Stitches, where you are kind of punished for being rude. What else? Some are just quick, like Don't Go Into the Pumpkin Patch at Night is super short. There's one called Rap Tap. That one is also very short. It's just like a little poem. Let's see. Josh Malerman's The Cries of the Cat was like that one got a little creepy. That one was creepy. I will give him that. Because you think it's a cat and it's not a cat. Some of them I was just like okay with, like I'm trying to think. Yeah, just some of them didn't hook me, which these are also designed for young readers, so that I'm not the demographic they're looking for. Tag Your It was very creepy. That was a social media focused one where someone was being tagged in photos. There was also, where is it? The House on the Hill was fun, very Goosebumps-esque, I want to say. The starting story, The Funeral Portrait, actually read older to me. It read like a story you would read, like if the writing had been changed a tiny bit, that you would read in like a young adult anthology. It was a little bit more, less scary, more like, this is your comeuppance kind of situation. But it was really cool. Let us see. There's some with like demons. There's some with just like some creepy stuff. There's a lot of like legends or folklore, or like, if you don't do this, you'll be in trouble / cursed kind of thing. So it was fun. Oh, Light as a Feather, Stiff as a Board did remind me of the TV show of the same name, but for a younger audience. So overall, this was fun. I can see the origin for sure. Though, again, some of these are actually creepier than Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Some are not as creepy. Oh, shoot. Where was the one? Am I not going to find it? Hold on. Oh, The Bottle Tree by Kimmy Garcia was good. And Tenanery of Dew actually had one in here, and it involved like a not exactly zombie apocalypse and was kind of interesting. It was very short. Some of these I was like, could these be longer so I get a better idea of what's going on? But I did enjoy this. The art, again, very creepy. This was a fast read too, because I'm gonna, oh, perfect. Like the margins are big, the font is big. You know, they're creepy picture. But we've done it. I still have not found that short story I read a million years ago. Haven't done it. Don't know what became of it. Again, if anyone at all has ever read a story involving, I know for a fact it's like a haunted barn or like a haunted farm, and the girl works in the barn, and there is a ghost asking her for help over and over, asking her for help. And then at the end of the story, you learn that it's not actually the ghost of a boy, it's the ghost of the man that killed boys. Like, it's a creepy story. I cannot for the life of me remember where I read it, who wrote it, nothing. And the problem is, it's a book I read so long ago that there's no way I can find out, because I would have read it through my library where I used to live in Ohio, and it's not like they're gonna have records from when I was a youth. Those would definitely have been deleted. I don't even think my card is active anymore. So like, I will never find out. So I don't know. But if you've heard of it, if you've heard of something similar, please let me know, because I swear I did not make it up. I just don't know where I read it. But that is it. If you have short stories you like, I would be very curious. If you have a short story that you remember and stands out to you, please let me know in the comments too. Especially if it's the one I've been trying to find this whole video that I never found. Dang it. I was really hoping I would find it in this video. Anyway, I have plans for another vlog already, because a book came out and I'm I'm very, very excited. That's all I'm going to tell you. But I'm going to go. I need to get some stuff done. So, like, not film stuff. I gotta do, like, house stuff, you know, like glitter boxes and all that jazz. So yeah, but I am gonna go. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of me, please subscribe. You can also find me on Instagram at CliffGoEverAfter. I think that's it. Yes. I will see you in the next one, Gremlins. Bye.